We have some recurring what infections on this show. I would just call them people that give and keep on giving in the shitty, dying talking point arena. Glenn Beck, Rusty Trombone, certainly Jimmy Dore, but there's a new kid on the block that a bunch of people have been on the right are sort of touting as one of their favorites. This guy Benny Johnson. This apparently the pictures of the Bidens hanging a tree, wishing everyone happy holidays, wishing everyone Merry Christmas, and actually saying Happy Kwanzaa and Happy Hanukkah to people specifically. That's apparently just destroying the meaning of Christmas. Never mind the fact that there were no, I guess, blood spike, Game of Thrones stalagmites in the hallways of the White House this year. But apparently, according to this, Grinchy Joe Biden cannot steal Christmas from us, according to Benny Johnson. Let's see why Joe Biden is Grinchy.
Christmas, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, hold on. He says Merry Christmas, I think.
Merry Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. And please remember that the people who do not want you to say Merry Christmas
don't exist.
Live in their parents' basements, covered in Cheeto dust.
Okay, first of all, armchair slacktivist people on social media versus gamer crowds. This is about, what do you want to do? Benny Johnson doesn't have any friends, so he's going to use sort of like a meme culture idea of what the rest of the world is like, and he lives through the references of others because he has none of his own. So in this case, the basement dwellers covered in Cheeto dust would be the gamer crowd who aren't like they're not the slacktivist online crowd at all. That's there's not a lot of overlap in that part of it. I guarantee Benny Johnson has more viewers on the regular that are watching from basements covered in, I'm going to go with Doritos, like a combination of any kind of powdered covering for a chip, well within the circle of Benny Johnson's regular viewers.
And that's why we keep saying Merry Christmas.
No, you keep saying Merry Christmas because you think it's a dunk and you have no idea what the actual meaning of saying Merry Christmas to someone else actually means. Like this, I often said many times that taking the Lord's name in vain is not simply saying Jesus Christ when you stub your toe. That's not taking the Lord's name in vain or saying God damn it, when you're angry or something. Taking the Lord's name in vain is false piety. Saying you are a Christian when you are not. Saying you are pious or, a good person and because you have a direct line to God or God operates through you, like false prophets. Hank Kuhneman takes the Lord's name in vain all the fucking time, right? Everybody on Flashpoint is constantly, almost as a career, taking the Lord's name in vain. The same thing is sort of true of Merry Christmas. This douchebag, the only way he can say Merry Christmas is in an attempted dunk on strangers that he's never actually run into.
On the Benny Report, I'm your host, Benny Johnson.
Well, yeah, nobody not named Benny Johnson would name their show that. That's just embarrassing.
And Mary, 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 Christ Mass.
Yeah, I'm totally convinced this is... everybody get your notebooks out. We're going to all learn what it's like to be a true Christian that lives under the tenets of Jesus Christ. Benny's going to teach us. He doesn't look at all panicked at the corner he painted himself into by saying Christ Mass.
And it is a Merry Christ Mass because we live in the greatest country in the history of the world. And
well, yeah, except it's, in hell, and all of our great cities burned down, and you can't walk down the street in any of the major cities without getting hit in the head with a baseball bat while being shot at the same time, and the economy is shit, and since Trump lost, it's all been downhill. And there's a surge of women and children across the border who are obviously those aren't real kids, they're made out of fentanyl.
And that's a damn good reason for every red-blooded American to be merry this season, even with Joe Biden.
What, you insist?
Biden at the helm of this nation, driving this proverbial sleigh straight into the ground.
It's not a proverbial sleigh. The country is not analogous to a sleigh. you're an idiot.
We are still great. This nation is.
Joe Biden is America's Grinch. Motherfucker, the Grinch, do you think this asshole has not seen the Grinch? Because the Grinch starts out hating Christmas and all this stuff, and then literally brings back all the presents and they cooks the goose and dresses the town again, and no, he gets a heart at the end of it. I guess in the middle, it doesn't matter. You have to understand, Benny and his ilk watched The Grinch That Stole Christmas in reverse because morally it goes that way. Like they literally, Johnson first rose to prominence as a staff writer at BuzzFeed until he was fired following revelations that many of his published articles were plagiarized. All right. Not surprising. By the way, can I just say for the record, that chair he's sitting in, I used to have that chair. You guys remember? I had to put a t-shirt over it because it would, the green screen wouldn't quite work through it. You guys remember this? It's in the garage. I use it when I'm doing sit-down work in the garage, like guitar stuff. And that looks like that's probably the Shure mic or whatever. I'm going to need evidence that his show isn't done in his basement. I'm not convinced at this point that it is Newsmax after all. There is no reason to believe he's not doing this from home and in his basement. And we have yet to see his hands, so let's just take it as writ that they are covered in Cheeto dust.
Great and always will be people who sacrificed for this country, who existed long before Joe Biden could ever come and wreck this place. They preserved it much better than he ever could.
All right, so the idea is, I guess, everyone is compared to anyone who ever fought for the country, and anybody who didn't fight for the country in a war, whatever they've done to, expand, healthcare, invent things, all the stuff that makes America kind of astounding on the face of it, that doesn't count. And the fact that Biden has passed an infrastructure bill, which Trump could have done but didn't. I don't think he could have, actually, because I think he couldn't quite mentally grasp what it entailed. And also he would have never come up with the rural broadband idea because he likes the uneducated and he likes rural people to stay stupid. And let's see what else. Obviously the omnibus, instead of a continuing resolution, got a full budget passed. That's crazy. The CHIPS Act, which of course will guarantee the United States an extra 10-year lead on the CCP controlling AI, for example, on the planet, which in and of itself it is a single celebratory moment that normally an asshole like this, like if Trump had done the CHIPS Act, this asshole would be jumping through his shirt.
And we will never let a grinchy president like Joe Biden take that away from
All right, he's just rambling at this point. A grinchy president like Joe Biden?
us. Remember the Grinch. He lived on top of the mountain in a little cave, and he went down to Whoville, a very nice place. It was law and order. They had a good border wall there in Whoville. They were very pleasant, very crime-free city.
He stole everything.
A lot of very pleasant people living there. The Grinch, he stole the Who's Christmas tree.
So they didn't have low crime, and the wall didn't work. Someone, wait a minute, wait for it. An illegal immigrant to Whoville, the Grinch, who lived in another land entirely up on the mountain, came across the border wall, stole everything, had a second thought, brought it all back. And what did the people who lived inside the wall do? They invited him to dinner and made him part of the community. This asshole just does he? I've never seen his show before. Does he just paint himself into a corner like this every fucking day?
He stole their presents. He stole their joy, and he tried to ruin.
Well, no, that was the point. He stole their presents, and he couldn't steal their joy because it wasn't about presents, but it is to Benny. So obviously, joy and presents are the same thing.
And that is precisely what Joe Biden has done to Americans. He
really
stole things from us, actually, metaphorically and quite literally.
All right, well, then why bother with the metaphorical parts? Just go with the literal parts. What'd he steal?
Think about it, Joe Biden is really
If you think about
the
it.
Grinch.
If you think about it, I'm thinking about it, and I still don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
He has stolen so much from us. He's a thief this holiday.
Based on what? What the fuck is this?
Joe Biden stole our sense of security. Americans can't walk through their own neighborhoods without worrying that they might get jumped.
That's right. Okay, so the country is you can't go down this is he's just he's cribbing off of Trump's notes that it's dangerous to go outside and you can't step outside without getting killed. Yeah. I don't know what all that shopping was about this year. I don't know what that $9.8 billion Black Friday was about.
That you might have a drive-by shooting if you live in some dark blue area. You may get robbed. It has never been more dangerous, actually, in the modern time to live in an American city.
Yeah, it has.
Many American cities.
By the way, go back and look at Fear City, and New York during the time of Son of Sam, for example. Holy shit, dude! Like when tetanus was a leading cause of death.
Actually have crime rates and death rates the levels of Fallujah right now. You can't drive a car.
Yes, because we're getting honest numbers out of Fallujah.
Without being carjacked.
You can't drive a car without being carjacked. If you've driven a car and you haven't been carjacked, you're just biding time. You're playing with fire. I don't know what you were doing in your car.
You can't sit at a restaurant without being assaulted by thugs. We've all seen the videos.
Yes, we've all seen the videos. It hasn't happened to us. But, once you've seen the video, it's like it happened to you. You can't, if you've seen a video of a carjacking or a news report about a carjacking, you've basically been carjacked. How can you not live in fear all the time? And thank God that there were never periods in American history in the last, 5 and change decades that I've been alive, where there were news stories about a spike in crime rates that you could just watch people, serial killers or somebody breaking into houses or abductions or any of that shit and not live in fear that what if it comes here, right? But this is the first time fucking ever. Jesus Christ.
Joe Biden stole.
But by the way, rip Portland.
Our sense of national security by leaving our border wide open. So
our border is not wide open.
So that millions of
I blame the wall.
Illegals and a watch list of terrorists can pour directly into our country.
Well, yeah, we got to know that they're actually terrorists so they count, Do we, what we should do is just any military age male, which because of Russia could be anybody from 18 to 72, comes across the border, just assume they're a terrorist, put them on a watch list. If they go, think about it this way. Think of you're Benny Johnson and you're sitting in a restaurant and there's a guy washing dishes and he looks vaguely Hispanic. That's terrifying for Benny Johnson. That's terrorism. When you hear somebody say Feliz Navidad to somebody else in the kitchen of a Denny's, that's horrifying.
And enough fentanyl to kill the entire nation.
By the way, that's not a lot of fentanyl.
He stole our children when they died from overdoses. He stole 13.
He stole our children when they died of overdoses. What? The fuck? He's got this in a list. This isn't a teleprompter? I can't, he's got to be just riffing this. Everybody left. He's at home by himself. He's just talking into a camera at this point.
13 of our sons and daughters in his reckless pullout from Afghanistan. And
oh, I see. His reckless pullout from Afghanistan, which, by the way, Trump actually set the timeline for. We had to push it 3 months just so we could get other people out. But Trump had set a deadline with the Taliban, 5,000 fighters of which he released from prison, and the head of the military arm of the Taliban, he got out of a Pakistani jail and released as well. He set a date for May, that we would be out by May 31st. We had to push it to August 31st because he did none of the homework. That's right. He set the date and then did nothing about it. Didn't start arranging for how we were going to get out. And by the way, could have, because it was fucking COVID. Everything was shut down. We could have tiptoed the fuck out during 2020 because everybody was staying away from everybody else. We couldn't even train soldiers at that point with our soldiers and the contractors that were there because they couldn't interact. Because COVID. So what better time to get like embassy staff and others out of the fucking country under the dead of night than using COVID as a way to get them out? Did Trump do any of it? Anything. Any fucking thing besides set a date May 31st for he believed his second term, which we now know he was never going to honor. He was never getting out. He said it before. He was like, I'm going to get everybody out. I mean, we keep Bagram, of course, as if Bagram isn't in the fucking country, and that doesn't mean staying for fucking ever.
And he stole our faith in elections.
No, he didn't. You guys gave that to Trump. You handed it to him.
Then he demonizes us for asking questions.
No. For being, he didn't demonize anyone. Anybody who attacked the fucking Capitol, he didn't even demonize. He didn't even go after the people who asked questions about it, because in America you can ask questions, but making assertions while pretending you're asking a question is not the same thing. But like he gives a fuck. This dude thinks Biden's the Grinch.
He stole our faith in institutions by weaponizing the federal justice system. Again,
No. You guys just decided that if the cops and the FBI and the Justice Department are cool until they come after your crimes. It's not that there's two tiers of justice in this country. It's that you want there to be two tiers of justice in this country, and there ain't.
Against the people and our own president. He stole our right to privacy.
He stole our right to... How?
He stole our savings accounts.
He stole our savings accounts. Where was the right to privacy part? Do we know what the fuck?
He stole the value of our currency and money from
the value of our currency? Motherfucker, the dollar's still up.
Our paychecks to fight wars that we may well lose. Who knows?
Wars that we may well lose. Okay, first of all, we're not fighting it, fucko. The Ukrainians are. And we're giving them the arms to do it, and they're going to pay us back. It is not a gift, it is an investment. Exactly like Zelensky said, that is absolutely true, especially when it comes to Lend-Lease. If you don't believe us, ask the fucking Brits, because they finally paid off their Lend-Lease from World War II, I think, 2 years ago? Not that this fuck gives a shit. I mean, this is the list of Grinchiness.
Bring us to the very brink of nuclear war. So that our...
nuclear war. Secondly, I guess the idea is that if Russia threatens the world, we just kowtow. That's what it means to be Americans. That's, in Benny Johnson's America, any world leader that has nukes threatens to use them, America tucks its tail and runs. That's what, it's no more about mutual assured destruction. It's about, like, the idea is that if anybody even wags that finger at us, we run. Who the fuck? Yeah, he's got the Nazi hairdo. That's the Hitler haircut that everybody likes.
Sons and daughters may not feel safe in their own cities. And Americans feel stolen from this.
Do they? Did you feel, hey, America? I'm talking to some Americans, and I'm talking to some Australians and some people overseas as well, and England and Ireland and other places. Did you feel stolen from, or do you feel like we all just went through COVID and shit happens and you sucked it up and tried to make the best of it?
Holiday, and rightly so. This is the grinchiest of holidays here.
All right, I don't, like, just hammer this point and move the fuck on.
In America.
This is the grinchiest grinchy holiday in America. The fuck are you talking about? By the way, can I just say for a second, let's see. Biden, Merry Christmas. Can I just show you this? This is Biden, and in a children's hospital at the cardiac ICU, visiting kids and their parents on Christmas. let's see. Yeah, this Christmas, Jill and I were honored to talk to a few brave men and women in uniform and thank them for their sacrifices this time of year. They're away from their families to protect us, and they have the thanks of a grateful, indebted president. Awesome. And there they are. This is just as grinchy as it fucking. I guess this is at the end of the Grinch where he's putting everything back. I suppose is that what we're doing? By the way, have you ever in your fucking life seen Donald Trump on a stepladder? You never will. You will never see Donald John Trump on a stepladder. The man would be terrified. If you think drinking water out of a bottle is a challenge for this motherfucker, can you imagine? Think about it. That's insane. We'd all be like, ugh, I don't even like the dude. And I'd be like, careful, Grandpa. Here's Biden, who apparently, they think is too old to do anything. Hanging their ornaments, by the way, which are in a storage container from their house. They brought some of their stuff for the Oval Tree. Christ almighty. Meanwhile, our country is under attack by the right. They truly seek to destroy America. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. There you go. Christmas 22. Let's see. First Lady Joe Biden expressed gratefulness to service members in Christmas calls. So they made calls to the troops and all that stuff. Just there you go. Meanwhile, there's like douchey right wingers. Yeah, there you go. Look what we found out where he stole it from. Pouring a bowl of water into the electricity. Yeah, that's not a bowl of water. That stupid. There is no water in that bowl. But knock yourself out. Yeah, and this was Trump's message. Here it is. Merry Christmas to everyone, including the radical left Marxists that are trying to destroy our country. The Federal Bureau of Investigation that is illegally coercing and paying social and lamestream media to push for mentally disabled Democrat over the brilliant, clairvoyant, and USA-loving Donald J. Trump. And, of course, the Department of Injustice, which appointed a special prosecutor who, together with his wife family, hates Trump more than any other person on earth. Love to all. Like, get the fuck out of here. What a loser. Meanwhile, Benny, tell us, you know what? I could be wrong. This might be a roundhouse. He could be, setting this whole thing up, and he's going to show us Trump's true message. Benny Johnson's got Trump on as a guest, and he's going to go, I just want to say, we put our big, as they say in Corinthians 47, hike, that we all must share in this time of glory of the Lord and also presence. Also good and because of manger.
Joe Biden robbed us of all of these things.
Did he? Do you want a tissue?
So how does the story go?
Well, yes, how does it go? It ends up with him being welcomed.
Grinch get away with it, I suppose, is the real question that we're going to ask today.
What? Get away with what, motherfucker? We know how the Grinch plays out. It's a Dr. Zeus story. We know how it ends.
The Christmas season reminds us that the Grinch doesn't get away with it. There is no Grinch.
Doesn't get away with it. He comes around and sees that the joy of Christmas is not about presents. He's overwhelmed with love for the fact that they don't need material things or a feast to show that they're happy. That the joy of the holiday itself is enough. And that's what inspires him. And he brings it all back.
Grinch that can ever take the true meaning of Christmas from us. And it doesn't matter where this country is politically. There are things that are greater than the tick-tock of the current political day-to-day. It's time to recognize that there are more things important in the world than the, of course, material possessions that Joe Biden has wrought terror over.
So your toys are scared?
Quite literally.
No, not quite literally. No one terrorizes gifts. The fuck?
Shopping sprees and presents under the tree. Ladies and gentlemen, people want you to think that that is the true meaning of Christmas.
No, they don't.
No, actually. It is the spirit of Christmas, the American spirit, our strength and resilience, our ability.
Yeah, it's not an American holiday, fucko. It's a European pagan holiday co-opted by a monotheistic Middle Eastern religion, which is fine, but we didn't invent it. Like, Jesus Christ, like, it's... Saint Nick is a German sprite. He's a Germanic, like a Roman Germanic spirit that the idea of which has been passed down to an actual person who visited sick children and all that kind of stuff and brought presents and yada yada. He's German, dumbass. What? What are you talking about?
Ability to persist. Our forefathers would have died so that we could celebrate this holiday. Many of them did.
What? They didn't die for fucking Christmas, dummy. As a matter of fact, they died so you could have Christmas or not have Christmas. Because the Church of England had direct control over what religious practice you could have. That's why all welcome and like all religions and no religion. That's why it's a secular government. They literally died so you didn't have to do Christmas if you didn't want to, stupid.
They literally sailed across a perilous sea and into a land unknown so that we could have a right to celebrate Christmas.
No, they did not. As a matter of fact, the Puritans outlawed it. They were like the Quakers in that crowd. They were more like hardline than the Brits were. They outlawed it for like 3 fucking years in the colonies. What are you talking about?
Actually, quite literally.
No, not quite literally. Quite not literally, dum-dum.
The original Americans were coming here so that they could be Christians. And so
no, yeah, but not the kind that have fucking Christmas and parties and shit like that. Those are like the descendants of those folks in particular are the ones who brought you like abolitionist movements and at the same time like women not being able to vote. Like there's a mixture of all kinds of crazy shit that came out of those folks.
That they could practice their faith. So that
oh, yes. Without celebrating Christmas or birthdays. They literally viewed Christmas as a pagan holiday they didn't want to participate in.
So that they could celebrate a Christ Mass, a Mass for Jesus Christ.
No, that isn't no. I like you breaking down the word. It's so, but you should precede all those things with actually, it's Christ Mass.
So string up your lights.
By the way, Jesus was more than likely born in June.
Make a snowman. Set up your nativity scene, depending on where you
Yeah, asshole.
live. Sing Christmas carols and blast Mariah Carey to your heart's content.
But if you think that makes you a Jesus-loving maggot, you're wrong. This is not what it's. Just because you're having a nice holiday doesn't mean it's a nice holiday. God damn it.
Please not too loud in my neighborhood. I cannot stand that song. Stuff your
neighborhood
face with Christmas cookies and make sure to leave some for Santa because everyone knows that.
Hold on. I think he's talking to Don Jr. in particular here.
Santa is indeed a capitalist.
It was banned because of the Christmas orgies? Now I'm even more upset.
America loves Christmas just as much as we ever have. And after all, America loves the color red. And even though we didn't get a red wave under the tree this Christmas and this November midterm election seasons,
we did get a glow-in-the-dark baby.
Well, we certainly will have a more important present for all of us. That is the birth of our Lord and Savior, baby Jesus Christ. And that is why we will always...
Also, the folks that call him baby Jesus or say baby Jesus or baby Jesus all the time creep me the fuck out. I'm just saying. First of all, if you're the flesh-born child of God who will overcome death, were you ever a baby? Weren't you just born knowing everything already? There was no reason for you to be born dumb like the rest of us who reincarnate and over until we get it right. You came in knowing all of it, is the idea. There's a story that was, it's in the Gnostic Gospels, I think, but there's a story about how, like, Joseph, his stepdad, who's a carpenter, had cut up, I think it was it was probably in 1 Corinthians, measure twice, cut once. That was directly because of something that happened with Joseph. But Joseph had cut a board that was very expensive, too short. And Jesus said, take hold of the other end. And he stretched it, and it made it longer again. I mean, honestly, at some point, is Kal-El really a baby if he can lift a truck? You see where I'm going with this?
We say, Merry Christmas on the Benny Report. A Happy New Year.
Yeah, you just don't mean it, asshole. You think he says Merry Christmas the way right-wingers say go woke, go broke. Get woke, go broke. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same tenor, it's the same attitude. There's no charity in it. There's no like respect for differences in the love of thy enemy or the turn the other cheek or any of the things that were meaningful from the teachings of Christ at all. Like, just throws it away. Like, it has none, and you can hear him say it. Like, there's a disdain, like it's a tool. It has value as a skewer, and that's it.
New Year to you. A happy Christmas celebrating the birth of the child that changed the course of humanity forever.
No, the man did. He was an adult when he was actually preaching and stuff. I mean, he was an irritant in the temples as a child because he knew all the scriptures from birth, as you do. Which is, by the way, the reason why this reason why I was baptized when I was 11. It's why I read the Bible all the way through twice, because it was like, you're supposed to be Jesus-like. So he irritated the deacons by being able to quote scripture to them that they had forgotten. And I was like, okay, that's the gig. By the way, Benny Johnson doesn't go to church. And if he does, he sits there and goes, I'm at church. Watch, it's a church to somebody like Benny Johnson is like a fashion show or a restaurant that is hip to go to on Instagram for influencers. You know what I'm talking about?
We love you, Christmas. We love the meaning of Christmas.
Yeah, explain it. Explain any of the meaning other than baby Jesus.
And no grinchy Joe Biden could ever steal that from us.
Yeah, it's almost like he didn't even fucking try. It's almost like he reverted back to normal, friendly, upbeat, heartfelt Christmas celebrations of presidents past.
The real reason for the season, the real reason for Christmas, cannot ever be taken or stolen.
But you're trying, Benny. You're giving it the old drop out of college try.
It is here permanently, and it will live forever.
Thanks. Very moving. I felt moved. Did you guys No. Sorry, that was gas.
Let us rejoice in that this Christmas.
Jesus. No pun intended. What? Oh my God. That guy is supposedly the future of right-wing talk. That's the second coming of Rush Limbaugh there. How low is the fucking bar in right-wing circles? I mean, I know I'm a potty-mouthed Mason over here, but for crying out loud, that's just embarrassing.